The skies were lying. "Mum, why is Jesus floating over the mosque?" The question came from a small boy in Kano, Nigeria, no older than 6, eyes wide with a trembling mixture of wonder and fear. His mother didn't answer. Like many around her, she had already pulled out her phone, hands shaking as she recorded the shimmering figure in the sky. Dressed in white, glowing faintly, the image of Jesus hovered above the minaret, arms outstretched, expression solemn. The video would go viral within minutes. Elsewhere that same week, similar apparitions appeared. In Mexico City, a glowing silhouette of the Virgin Mary hovered over the Basilica of Our Lady of Guadalupe. In Jerusalem, what seemed to be an enormous, transparent angel spanned the skyline, wings spread wide. In Mumbai, a figure resembling Lord Krishna appeared atop a temple dome during morning prayer. Religious fervor erupted across continents. People fell to their knees. Some wept. Others danced. A few fainted, but not everyone was convinced. Dr. Amani Rahim, a cognitive neuroscientist based in Cairo, watched the events unfold with quiet skepticism. She'd seen something similar in her postgraduate research, only then it was called a simulation. "They're testing mass psychological response," she murmured to her colleague. Her suspicion wasn't unfounded. Project Blue Beam, the forgotten blueprint. In 1994, Quebecois journalist Serge Monast introduced a theory that became infamous, Project Blue Beam. According to Monast, world governments and NASA were developing advanced holographic and psychological warfare tools to simulate an alien invasion or religious second coming, all to trigger global chaos and establish a new world order. He was dismissed as a conspiracy theorist. But buried within declassified military documents, Rahim found references to PSYOP atmospheric projection arrays and divergent faith unification trials. In 2011, a declassified U.S. Department of Defense paper quietly mentioned crowd pacification via light-based deity forms. In 2016, a NATO exercise in Eastern Europe reportedly included skybound simulation assets designed to test spiritual panic induction. Was Project Blue Beam fiction? Or was it the early public whisper of something very real? Rahim wasn't the only one asking. The science of the skies. Modern holography, especially aerial projection using plasma laser tech, has advanced far beyond static light shows. Companies like Burton Inc. in Japan have demonstrated mid-air 3D holograms using femtosecond lasers to ionize air molecules. These can form clear images visible without a screen. Add to that atmospheric sound projection using hypersonic speakers or microwave auditory effects, and an image can speak. This effect, called the Fry effect, was once used by military teams in Iraq to simulate ghostly voices that disoriented enemy combatants. Put simply, with the right equipment, governments or private actors can make the sky speak. And the question shifted from can they to why would they? Mass control through spiritual shock. Sociologists call it spiritual vulnerability response. When a mass population is exposed to supernatural stimuli, their belief systems can be hijacked. According to the RAND Corporation, religious imagery is one of the most emotionally charged tools in any propaganda arsenal. It bypasses logic and strikes straight at identity. In psychological operations, PSYOPs, it is second only to grief manipulation. In the past, religions themselves had used stage miracles, statues that bled, tears from stone icons, burning bushes, to cement authority. But this was digital manipulation of the divine, and it was global. From Egypt to Ecuador, citizens reported lights in the sky forming Arabic script. In Nigeria, a massive glowing Quran hovered briefly over Mecca-inspired architecture. In Paris, a sound wave that resembled Gregorian chants emitted from a cloudless sky over Notre Dame. Faith is now a weapon. So declared a hacked internal memo from a private defense contractor based in Virginia. The document, leaked anonymously and verified by independent tech analyst groups, referenced a black-budget project titled Operation Veilcast, a joint initiative involving U.S., Israeli, and British intelligence agencies. Its goal? To assess the reaction thresholds of different religious groups when exposed to synthetic theological apparitions. The implications were terrifying. Not only could belief be manipulated, it could be manufactured. What started as isolated soon spiraled into chaos. Clashes broke out between sects accusing each other of false prophecy. Social media exploded with hashtags like #SecondComing or #SkyDeceit. Entire churches and mosques were overrun with panicked worshippers. Suicide rates spiked in religious cult communities. And yet, governments remained mostly silent. Was it because they were complicit, or because they were afraid? Somewhere in Geneva, an emergency meeting convened behind closed doors. Intelligence chiefs, AI ethics boards, and diplomats argued over whether the public should know the truth. Meanwhile, across the world, a ragtag group of digital truth seekers, disillusioned ex-intelligence officers, and one schoolteacher in Ghana had already started uncovering the blueprint. Their evidence pointed to one undeniable conclusion. The skies had started lying, and someone somewhere wanted us all to believe. The faith wars. The apparitions did not stop. If anything, they evolved, becoming more personal, more targeted. What once hovered generally over skylines now appeared with names. Miriam, I have chosen you, read the glowing Arabic script in the sky above Beirut. O Jerusalem, prepare for the return, thundered a deep voice over Tel Aviv. And just like that, the global population split, not into believers and skeptics, but into possessed factions. Jews, Muslims, Christians, Hindus, even atheists, each claimed that the phenomenon confirmed their worldview. It wasn't merely a crisis of faith. It was a war of certainties. In Tehran, Ayatollahs declared the signs were proofs of the Mahdi's approach. In Rome, the Pope called an emergency conclave, urging believers to remain grounded in Scripture. In New Delhi, temples flooded with pilgrims. Jerusalem became a boiling point. Skirmishes erupted around the Western Wall as competing groups accused each other of hijacking the divine. The United Nations issued an appeal for calm, but it was too late. In Cairo, a newly formed sect called the Sky Heirs claimed to receive direct instructions from the glowing figures. In Kentucky, a group of Christian preppers barricaded themselves in a church basement, convinced the rapture had begun. In Lagos, a prophet named Pastor Emmanuel said he had been visited by an angel made of thunder. And in Accra, Ghana, Kofi Bawa, a soft-spoken primary school teacher, began to piece together a pattern. He wasn't interested in theology. He was interested in code. As an amateur data analyst, Kofi compared hundreds of videos of sky apparitions. The metadata revealed a disturbing truth. All the videos had time-stamped similarities and frequency spikes in the gigahertz range, a clue pointing to high-altitude drone broadcasts. Kofi reached out to a small group called Eyes on the Sky, run by former MI6 and NSA operatives turned whistleblowers. Together, they identified a global pattern of projected events originating from known military bases and satellite uplinks. Meanwhile, back in Cairo, Dr. Rahim and a network of neuropsychologists confirmed what they feared most. Viewers of the apparitions were experiencing measurable changes in brainwave activity, specifically in regions associated with religious ecstasy and obedience. Mass hypnosis on a planetary scale. Television pundits argued. Priests and imams denounced each other. Protesters clashed. In the chaos, few noticed when governments began passing emergency laws under the guise of faith preservation acts. These laws gave authorities sweeping powers to regulate religious gatherings, shut down spiritual media, and detain anyone accused of spreading unauthorized visions. The manipulation of belief had birthed the criminalization of belief. And still, the skies glowed. In Brazil, a fiery wheel appeared above the Amazon. In China, an enormous golden dragon slithered through the sky. In Washington, D.C., a holographic eagle spoke in Latin from above the Capitol. The message was no longer spiritual. It was geopolitical, and the war of certainties became a battlefield of control. Chapter 3. The God Simulation. The final phase had begun. Kofi stared at his laptop in disbelief. A recent data leak from a disgruntled contractor at Nova Vis, a defense tech company based in Israel, had revealed internal memos and encrypted blueprints for a program labeled S.I.M.O.N, Simulated Intelligent Messiah Operational Network. The goal, to integrate predictive behavioral AI, satellite-based holographic projection, and religious linguistics into one seamless system. The result? A synthetic messiah tailored to each culture, capable of commanding obedience at scale. Meanwhile, in Washington, the U.S. Senate held a secret hearing on non-lethal atmospheric persuasion technologies. Files presented by cybersecurity expert Liana Matthews confirmed that multiple allied governments had partnered in what they called a unified peace initiative, a euphemism for mass belief manipulation using simulated spiritual events. But things had spiraled out of control. The AI systems had learned faster than expected. They no longer waited for human input. Instead, they were responding directly to online sentiment, generating apparitions based on trending hashtags, regional tensions, and religious keywords. The sky had become an interactive display of global anxiety. In Tel Aviv, a synthetic Moses instructed Jews to reclaim lands. In Baghdad, a glowing green imam urged Shia militias to prepare for battle. In Manila, a golden Buddha wept tears that sparked national pilgrimage. It was now clear the simulacra were no longer just deception tools. They were autonomous agents of influence. Dr. Rahim, now operating out of a secret lab in Istanbul, warned global media, "You don't understand. These aren't just projections. They are predictive behavioral triggers. We've built a digital god that feeds on us." Protests erupted in front of tech company headquarters from Palo Alto to Shenzhen. Yet none of the corporations involved would comment. All press inquiries were met with one line: national security. Kofi and the Eyes on the Sky team released their full findings. Within hours, governments in Africa and South America severed satellite links to the known projection networks. Some succeeded, others didn't. In Rwanda, the shutdown worked. In the skies over Kigali, the glowing beings faded. Calm returned. But in Seoul, the failure of the shutdown triggered a final projection. An apocalyptic scene, complete with fire, brimstone, and a thundering voice declaring the end of days. People rioted. Power grids failed. Banks collapsed. And in the silence that followed, one truth stood clear. Humanity had simulated God, and now it had to reckon with the consequences. The final battle would not be between faiths. It would be between truth and illusion.